Are you wanting to can meat but a little nervous to try it out? Come on. Welcome back to our channel, The Purpose Driven Homestead. I'm Amanda, and today we're going to go ahead and talk about all of the equipment needed and some of the recipes that you can use in order to can meat for your family. Before we even get started with any of the recipes or the equipment that you would need in order to can meat on your shelves, let's discuss the reason why you would want to have canned meat on your shelf. First and foremost, it's super convenient. This is pork shoulder that I made a while ago. All I need to do is dump this into a pot, add some seasoning, some barbecue sauce, and go ahead and serve it on some buns. It's a ready-made meal basically on our shelves that I don't have to thaw out. It doesn't have to cook in the crock pot all day. All I have to do is dump it out, put some seasoning, and we're good to go. Same thing with any kind of ground beef or chicken. It works the same way. It's already cooked up and ready to be served. Another reason why you might want to can up some meat is because of the reason for behind me. We have 2 deep freezers here in our house, and they're full right now. We raised our own pasture-raised chickens this year, and one of them is completely full, and the other one has meals in there. It's important for us to keep meals on hand for those busy days, and then also we needed a space for all of our chickens that we raised. This gives you an option to go ahead and have meat in your house and put them on the shelves. You also don't need to worry about any kind of blackout situation where you don't have electricity, or if one of your freezers burns out, you don't need to worry about not having any kind of meat, or you can go ahead and make sure that you have the skill in order to take care of anything in there that might be going bad. If this freezer broke down, I have the skills that I need in order to go ahead and take all the chicken out and can it up. There's a couple other reasons why you'd want to keep meat on the shelf, so I'll go ahead and display it here, but obviously you're here, so let's go ahead and get started with all of the equipment that you'll need so that you can do this yourself. In order to safely can meat, we need to make sure that we're using a pressure canner, which is different from your typical water bath canner or just regular pot you might be using for jellies, for applesauce, for high acid foods that don't require to be under pressure in order to can them. This is your typical water bath canner. You just open it up and there's a rack here at the bottom. You fill this up with some water and you make sure that your jars are completely covered, about 2 inches or so, and you boil it for a certain amount of time, normally about 10 minutes for jellies. But this is a water bath canner. Likewise, you could just go ahead and use a big pot that you have as well that all of your jars fit into. You don't necessarily need to have a water bath canner, but you need to make sure that you have a rack at the bottom so that all of your jars don't clink. This is a pressure canner, which is completely different from the water bath canner that I was just talking about. On the lid here, there is a spot for a vent steam. And then here in this hole, there is a gauge that I'll go ahead and show to you. It measures the pressure that it's being cooked at. So this is the gauge for mine. There's a rubber gasket here that goes right in that hole and secures it down. And here on the top as well, this little piece here on this spot, it will pop up when there is pressure. And then there is a weight that you put down on the vent steam once it's been vent steaming for 10 minutes. In cooking your meat, you just place it right on there and the pressure comes up on the gauge. So this is completely different from your water bath canner. It is going to build up pressure and make sure that that low acid food, so if we're talking about corn, green beans, any kind of meats, any kind of meals that have meats in them, so if you're doing chicken soup or chili, they all need to be pressure canned. We'll make sure all of the links are below to our pressure canners so that you can go ahead and check them out for yourself. There's other brands that you can use, but we really like ours, and we are so dedicated to the brand that we have and are so pleased with it that we went ahead and got a second one. This is actually an induction canner though. Same exact thing from what I just showed you, but this one is an induction canner. You can see here at the bottom, it's completely different than a regular pot, and that will conduct heat on your induction. Now that we've discussed the difference between a water bath canner and a pressure canner, let's go ahead and address a question that I constantly get asked, and that is a pressure canner the same thing as a pressure cooker? And can I use my pressure cooker in order to can meat? The answer is no. You need to make sure that you have a pressure canner in order to can meat. I know we don't personally have any of the pressure cookers, the Instapots, but I know there's a lot of people out there that make wonderful recipes, have fast meals and cook up rice really quickly with their Instapots or pressure cookers, but you're going to need to have a pressure canner in order to can your meat. To go back to talking about our lid, you're gonna see a rubber gasket here. This can be exchanged out. You wanna make sure that it's not dry rotted and you're constantly looking at it to make sure that this is not cracked in any sort of way, because this is what's going to seal your pot. You can see there's ridges here and it matches up with the pot here. There's the ridges. Likewise, there's a little arrow there here on the lid that matches up with the handle here so that you can go ahead and match it up and then turn it to make that nice seal. This is the bottom of the pot here. You want to make sure that whenever you're filling up, for our specific canner, we put 3 quarts of water, and then we put about 2 tablespoons or so of white distilled vinegar to make sure that it's not staining the inside of your pot. And then just like you do with your water bath canner, you want to make sure that you have a rack at the bottom. This comes along with the canner, but if you are going to double stack all of your pints, you need to make sure that you order a separate one so that you can go ahead and do that. When I say double stack, all I simply mean is you're going to have a rack here at the bottom of your canner. You're going to go ahead and put your pints on, and then this will go on top of your layer of pints. And then you can have another layer of pints here at the top. Now, you want to make sure that you're having that spacer in between, because you don't want to lay your jars on top of the lids that are at the bottom layer so that there's a false seal in any sort of way. You don't want to compromise the seal. So that is what that second layer is for. If you're new to canning and a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of canners that are available and what you need to purchase, my recommendation is to just stick with purchasing a pressure canner. Essentially what a water bath canner is a big pot that you can go ahead and put your jars into and get that vacuum seal. You can accomplish that in your pressure canner. You can also accomplish pressure canning, obviously. You can go ahead and make sure that you pressure can all of those low acid foods like meat and green beans and anything else that you might need to grow or preserve. That way you only need to purchase 1 canner, and most people have room for just 1 pot rather than 5 or 6 of them that they need to go ahead and store. Now that we've discussed the canners that we have on hand in order to can up all our meat, let's just talk about a couple other things that you need to have on hand in order to can in general. So this is the grabber that you're going to want to have. This is the handle part, and you're going to pull this in and out of the hot water in the canner. So you're going to go ahead and hold it just like this at the neck of the jar, and you can grab it. That way your hands are not getting super hot. It's going to be extremely hot when it's coming out of the canner. Another thing you want to have on hand is this little magnet here. This is going to allow you to lift up the lids out of the hot water before you place them onto your jar when you're canning. That way you're not introducing any bacteria that you may have on your hands into the jars. So when you're picking up the lids with your hands, it's just asking to put bacteria into your jar. So you want to make sure that it's nice and sanitary and use your magnet. You're going to also want to have a bubble popper. Now, a lot of people use a chopstick. You don't necessarily have to have this tool, but I really like this tool because it acts as a bubble popper to get all of the bubbles around your jar. And then it also has this measuring device here. When they say that most of the canned meat that I've done has been 1-inch headspace. So this is a 1-inch headspace right here. You put it right here, but this is half-inch. Sorry. This is half-inch, this is 1/4 inch. So you want to make sure that you're measuring the headspace when you're canning anything. And lastly, you just want to make sure that you have a funnel so that all of your items can go in there. You don't want to make a big mess, and that's an easy way to get your meat in there. Next up, let's talk about the jars that you may see in the store and which one you want to pick in order to can meat. First off, let's go ahead and talk about 1/2 pint jars. These are 8-ounce jars, and this is really perfect if you're trying to do any kind of jelly, apple butter, so we use them for jalapenos. This, however, is not going to be a jar that you want to use for canning meat. I've actually never seen any kind of recipe that is using this, so you want to steer clear of these and make sure that you're just leaving them for the jelly. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about your regular mouth pint-sized jars. These are 16 ounces. You can also buy these in wide mouth as well. When I talk about wide mouth and a regular mouth, they're just smaller. I can show you the difference between the jars in just a moment, but these are great if you're gonna go ahead and do any kind of ground beef. If you're gonna do chicken, this is a really great size. If you're trying to do, like, stretch your meat a little bit, maybe in a casserole, if you're doing tacos, ground beef would be perfect in this. Lastly, let's go ahead and talk about our quart-sized jars. These are wide mouth quart-sized jars, which are perfect to can meat. If you're trying to do chicken with bones or pork shoulder or anything like that, This is going to be perfect because you want to have that wide mouth in order to have all of the meat fit in and out. When you're pouring it out, you don't want to have to scrape it or kind of tear up the meat in order to pull it out. This just slides right out. So this is a really great option if you're trying to can up meat. I told you that I would show you the difference between a wide mouth and a regular mouth. This is a wide mouth that we have our pork shoulder in, and this is a regular mouth. This is great if you're trying to do tomato sauce, or even ground beef would be great in this too, but that's easy to kind of pour out. You want to make sure that those chunks and stuff are able to just pour right out of your jar. When you're looking for replacement lids, you can either buy the ones that have the lids and bands, or just a pack of lids themselves. The ones that have the lids and bands, they will come with the lid. Of course, the lid here, it has a rubber gasket, and this is what's going to seal down and vacuum seal your jar. This is the band that you screw down on your jar, and you will actually store your cans without the band, but obviously the lid will stay on. You want to make sure you're doing that so that you're not getting a false seal, or to make you feel like there's actually a seal on your jar, but they're actually not sealed down. So definitely make sure that you're not storing your cans with the band. These are the lids and bands that we have been using recently. We've actually used them to can ground beef with chili, some applesauce, and we've used them both in the pressure canner and the water bath canner, and we find them to be a really great company. 4 Jars is actually offering a 10% discount code for all of our subscribers, so definitely click the link below and use that coupon code at your checkout so that you can go out and get 10% off your order. Okay, so you have all the equipment that you need in order to can and preserve your food. Now you're asking me, where in the world do I store it? A lot of people take their bands and they string them up with string and they'll hang them around their kitchen. I don't have the space for that. So my solution to that is to just use these plastic tubs that you find at like Walmart. We'll make sure all of my bands are completely dry. This is super important because you don't want them to rust, but make sure that they're completely dry. I just store them in a Ziploc bag and I throw them into this tote. We put this tote into our closet, so it's nice and tucked away. It's not in the way in the kitchen. And whenever I need to can, I just pull my tote out. And if I need some new bands or my lids are stuck in here as well, everything's in one spot and I can just pull out this one tub and have everything ready for me to go for my next canning round. That's basically all of the essential equipment that you're going to need in order to can or pressure can meat in your home. Another thing that I wanted to discuss is the recipes that we get. We are very strong believers in making sure that we are following guidelines and making sure that we are canning safe. I don't want to go through all of this effort and have something spoil on me. I know there's a lot of really great recipes on blog posts and other people's websites, but I want to make sure that I am sticking to a book that I can trust, and that is this one. I know I've shared this several times. A lot of the recipes that I get are from this book. We also have another one. This is for water bath canning though. This has a lot of different fermentation recipes, but they do have some good canning books. But again, those are just water bath. This is going to give you a lot of different water bath and pressure canning recipes. This book talks about any kind of meals that you would want to make, from chicken soup to chili to spaghetti with meat. But they also talk extensively about canning beef and pork and chicken. So I definitely trust this book. I have used it on a lot of different meat recipes, and that is really what I stick with. I'll also share a website down below. If you're not looking to purchase a cookbook at this time, there is a free website called National Canning for Home Preservation that some of my friends have used in the past to pressure can. So you can go ahead and check out that link below so that you can see for yourself if you want to go ahead and use that. I have never personally used that. Like I said, I stick with the bulk canning recipes, but that's another option for you. That's really all you need to have on hand in order to can meat in your home. I hope that this gave you some confidence in knowing exactly what you need to have on hand in order to can meat, or where you can find some recipes. We'll definitely make sure that we have everything laid out down below so that it's very easily accessible to you and knowing exactly what we have on hand. If you want to learn how we can this pork or some ground beef, definitely check out our other videos where we've done that for you step by step so that you know exactly what you need to do in order to can that meat. Please go ahead and like this video today if you found value in it, and also subscribe to us. It really does help us out as we're trying to build up our community here on YouTube and reach new people that are trying to homestead right in their backyard. As for now, guys, have a blessed day.
With every star, we are